On the freezing night of January 8, 2004, at exactly 11:18 p.m., a young woman using the username Hasumi made what seemed like an ordinary post on a Japanese online forum. There was no panic in her words at first, just mild confusion. She wrote, "My train hasn't stopped for a while. Is that normal?" Most users assumed she was joking. Some replied sarcastically, suggesting she had fallen asleep or accidentally boarded an express train. But Hasumi wasn't joking. She explained that she took this same local train home every night after work. It always stopped every few minutes at small suburban stations. Tonight, however, it had been moving for over 20 minutes without stopping once. As the train continued through the darkness, something else began to unsettle her. Just moments earlier, a handful of exhausted commuters had been sitting across from her under the buzzing fluorescent lights. The atmosphere had felt routine, almost comforting in its normalcy. Then suddenly, she realized she was completely alone. She couldn't remember when the others had gotten off. The overhead electronic display that normally showed the next station name was blank. No announcements echoed through the speakers. No conductor passed through the car. There was only the steady metallic rhythm of wheels grinding against steel tracks, a cold mechanical sound cutting through the silence. By 11:40 p.m., the tone of the forum began to shift. People stopped joking and started asking serious questions. What line are you on? Check your GPS. Look outside. Hasumi replied that the view beyond the windows was pitch black, no city lights, no houses, no signs of life. Just endless darkness pressing against the glass. She opened her phone's map application. It showed the train icon moving forward, but the location label was missing. It appeared as if she were traveling through an unnamed, empty void. A few users admitted that was strange. Others told her firmly, if it stops, get off at the next station no matter what. At 11:57 p.m., she posted, "It's slowing down." Seconds later, it stopped. Then another message followed, "I don't recognize this station." She described a short, poorly lit platform outside the window. There were no glowing vending machines, no illuminated staff booth, no colorful advertisements lining the walls. Only a single flickering fluorescent lamp casting weak light over cracked concrete. The doors slid open with a mechanical hiss, but there was no cheerful arrival chime, no robotic announcement. Just a heavy, unnatural silence. Users demanded the station name. A minute later she replied, "Kisaragi Station." Immediately, people began searching. That station doesn't exist. It's not on any railway map. Are you reading it correctly? Hasumi insisted she was. The sign was old and wooden, mounted near the edge of the platform. The faded letters clearly spelled, Kisaragi Station. Despite dozens of warnings flooding the thread, she stepped off the train. The air outside felt colder than inside the carriage. She described it as sharp against her skin, carrying a metallic scent, like rust and damp concrete. The silence wasn't peaceful, it felt oppressive, almost suffocating, like pressure building inside her ears. As she stood there typing updates with trembling fingers, the train doors suddenly slid shut behind her. Before she could react, the train began moving again. She ran toward it, heart pounding, but within seconds its red tail lights vanished into complete darkness. She was completely alone. The forum exploded with frantic replies. Stay on the platform. Call emergency services. Don't wander. Hasumi wrote that there were no ticket machines working, no staff anywhere. The exit gates were old manual bars that pushed open easily. Beyond them was not a town, but a narrow gravel road stretching into darkness. No streetlights. No houses. No distant traffic sounds. Nothing. At 12:10 a.m., she posted, "I hear something." When users asked what she meant, she replied, "It sounds like drums. Far away. Slow. Repeating." Some suggested it might be a festival in a nearby village. Others warned her not to follow the sound. But she admitted she felt too uneasy staying at the empty station. The loneliness was pressing in on her chest. So she began walking down the gravel road, describing how the crunch of stones beneath her shoes sounded unnaturally loud in the silence. 12 minutes later, her next message appeared, "There's someone ahead." The thread erupted. She described an old man standing near a broken roadside sign. He was limping slightly, his posture hunched. His clothes looked decades out of date. His face was blank, emotionless. She typed that she asked him where she was. He didn't respond. He just stared at her. Then she wrote, "He's walking toward me." Panic filled the forum. "Run. Go back. Don't let him get close." Her replies became shorter, rushed, breathless. "I'm walking away. He's still behind me." The drumming is louder now. Someone told her to save her battery. She responded, "Battery 15%. Moments later, "There's a tunnel ahead." People begged her not to enter. Tunnels were dead ends. But she typed, "I don't have a choice." Inside, she said the temperature dropped sharply. The air felt damp and heavy. Water dripped somewhere in the darkness. Her footsteps echoed loudly against the concrete walls. Then she posted something that chilled everyone reading, "I hear footsteps behind me." "Is it him?" someone asked. "Yes." "Did you look?" "No." The updates slowed. The gaps between messages grew longer. Signal weak. Battery 10%. The footsteps are getting closer. Users pleaded with her, "Run, hide, turn around, do something." Her final clear message read, "If I don't make it back, please tell me this place isn't real." At 12:25 a.m., her last message appeared, "He's right behind me." Then nothing. For hours, users refreshed the thread, calling her name into the digital void. Some later claimed that a brief message appeared from her account saying, "I made it back." Others insisted it was fake. There were no verified screenshots. Eventually, the account went inactive, forever. No official railway records list Kisaragi station. No maps acknowledge it. Yet the story spread across the internet, growing darker with each retelling. Some believe it was an elaborate fictional live roleplay. Others believe she accidentally crossed into a parallel dimension, into a place that exists only when the boundary between worlds grows thin. And even now, there are people who claim they've ridden trains that didn't stop, seen blank electronic displays, arrived at platforms not marked on any map. So if you ever find yourself on a late-night train, and it doesn't stop when it should, and one by one, the passengers quietly disappear, and the doors open at a station you've never heard of, ask yourself carefully, would you step off the train? Or would you stay seated, and pray it keeps moving?